You know, some people out there, when they talk, they fake the funk. You want brutally honest? Well, if you want brutally honest, look no further than CG Ruthless Sports.
CG Ruthless.
CG Ruthless Sports.
CG Ruthless.
If you want your sports talk to be brutally honest, come check out CG.
CG Ruthless.
If you're not watching CG Ruthless, I don't know what to tell you. Representing the Niner Empire.
CG Ruthless.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chicago Joker Butters, whatever the name you go by nowadays. But tell the audience.
All hail the king.
All hail the king. I unmasked the Demon King, by the way. So, how do you feel about your Bears this matchup this week, man?
Pretty nervous. What else can I say?
Yeah, pretty much we're facing each other, man. The similarities, the offense is very much the same. Defense is pretty good both ways for both sides of the ball for us. We have a good defense, but our offense just inconsistent. How do you feel about this matchup, man?
I feel like this will see how we do without the clown in the room. And you already know who I'm referring to when I say the clown in the room, which is Matt Nagy.
Oh, okay, Matt Nagy. Okay, so what's more frustrating about Matt Nagy as a head coach since his tenure's been here?
All right, I could tell you about the play calling, but he's not calling the plays. So I'm just going to say that he's a horrible play caller that should have been fired. Like, his lack of leadership is the reason why he's holding the Bears back. So when we first hired him in 2018 to be our head coach, I didn't know who this guy was. Let me be honest. I said, okay, I'll give him a shot. 12-4. So I'm like, oh, maybe this guy can be good. But over the years, there's two reasons I don't like Matt Nagy. Number one, he's arrogant. He tries this lack of scheme. Like, I'll tell you, for example, in 2019, he didn't even bother to use the run game until the end of the season. Because if you look at our rushing attempts, they were not bad. We focused on letting Mitchell Trubisky throw the ball a couple times. So that's my whole thing.
I would have thought maybe the way he was as a coach, you would have thought maybe since he was in the Andy Reid coaching tree, he would be successful, but that's not the case here, I guess. You know, it's like same can be said with Kyle Shanahan, the way his play calling, it's kind of like head scratching, just head scratching. Like, what is he doing? But now that it's kind of like he's got a long-term contract, he ain't going anywhere anytime soon, so the pressure would have to be on John Lynch now. So how do you guys feel about your GM, Ryan Pace? It's kind of been like iffy with him.
He's doing a better job than the coach. That's all I can say.
So he's made them.
Looking back at the moves we did in the offseason, they don't look that horrible. Like releasing Kyle Fuller. Kyle Fuller's about to get cut. Okay, Kyle Fuller's not looking that good. Another thing, drafting in the draft, we had a better draft. We drafted Justin Fields, our franchise quarterback. Then we traded up to get Tevin Jenkins, who should be coming back after the bye. We also drafted Larry Boom in the 5th round, who was going to come off of injury when we play against y'all. But the thing is with Ryan Pace is this his quarterback? Is this his guy? That's as it always has been. You pass on Patrick Mahomes, you pass on Deshaun Watson. I mean, granted, nobody knew who Patrick Mahomes was. Now, granted, nobody knew who Patrick Mahomes was. But to pass up on Deshaun, well, I get Deshaun ain't playing. But even if we did draft Deshaun Watson, it would be the same result, in my opinion, because of the coach, his arrogance and his scheme. It never works. And that's kind of on pace because he hired Matt Nagy, but I think Ryan Pace has done his job and he's already secured his job. Okay. I guarantee he has already secured his job for next year because he traded up to get Justin Fields. That is the main reason why he secured his spot for next season.
Okay, so that's how you feel about the situation. Same can be said with Shanahan. He got a 6-year contract extension. John Lynch, he did sign a shorter contract, so he's not safe. As bad as it seems like, I feel like the front office needs to make a change in the front office, especially at general manager. I feel like John Lynch, sure, he could put the blame on him too, but Shanahan's going to get the blame at some point. I feel like that's the next scapegoat. If this doesn't work out this season, it's going to have to be some changes, and John Lynch will probably be the odd man out. And I think Adam Peters is the more qualified general manager at this point. Since he's on our other front office, he's a GM assistant, and he knows how to scout talent. So I feel like if we get him to move up the GM, I feel like we'll hit some good draft picks. But quite lately, we haven't fared well with drafting early round picks. So the later rounds, we've been able to find some good players. Like Kittle was a 5th round pick, so you can't just say whatever they say. But then we got somebody like a Dre Greenlaw in the 5th round. The cornerback, Diamond Lenore, is better than the 3rd round pick cornerback we drafted this year. Elijah Mitchell is a better running back than Trey Sermon is because of the system he fits in. He kind of seems more like a better version of a Matt Breida, but seems more physical kind of runner. So I feel like the way they've been drafting and developing players, they haven't been able to utilize them. Like, you traded up a spot to get Brandon Ayuk just to leapfrog the Packers because the Packers wanted that guy. So you moved up to get that receiver, but you're not playing him as much. I don't understand. And you're going to give more targets to Deebo Samuel, who I think is a really good receiver, but you got to compliment him with another receiver, and I felt like Ayuk was the guy, but I guess they're just playing this little game. So I'm thinking, what the hell is Shanahan doing? It kind of makes me shake my head a little bit. I feel like they're not utilizing him a lot. And I feel like this offense is kind of falling off because of Shanahan's ego. And it could be the same with the way you feel about your Bears, maybe the same way with Matt Nagy.
I can agree on that. The main problem is Matt Nagy's too stubborn. Every single press post game, I stopped watching it because he's I just get annoyed when he says this one thing. We're gonna have to figure out the why. Every single post game reaction, he says, it's our job as coaches to figure out the why we suck, the why we did terrible and come back and do this. Bro, your leadership is horrible. Let me be completely honest. If I was the head coach, if my team, let's just say, I don't know what the halftime score was when we let in, so I'll just say it was 3 to 31. I go in the locker room and I tell the players, if you don't want to play for this team, then get out the door, because I see in that locker room a full bunch of losers. If you don't want to play for this team, then leave. And then I would say and I will say this, if you don't want to play for my team, at least show that you cared. Because I was at the game, actually. I had nice, good seats. But what I saw was a bunch of players that didn't feel like they wanted to be there. The offense, look, typical offense, okay? We can't do nothing but rushing with Khalil Herbert, which credit, Khalil Herbert had a hell of a game. I mean, you can't say Khalil Herbert rushed all over Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has the best run defense in the NFL, and he had 100 yards. I mean, there's nothing, but in the passing, we are horrible. Like, I get it. Justin Fields didn't have a good game, but some of the plays I can mention, Justin Fields threw, and his receivers did not do him any no favor. So I could tell you, I think it was the second or first drive, because I think the first drive, his right tackle, who was a 7th-round pick that he didn't even practice, he had to be pulled in a situation. So the second one, he threw a dart to Cole Kmet and he dropped it. And then on his second interception, I'll talk about the first one. But the first one he threw, Allen Robinson slipped, and it went to the defender's hands. And then the second one, Darnell Mooney, basically, let's picture this. The ball is right here. It's tipped, and it went to the defender's hands. So even though Justin Fields did have some rookie mistakes, my problem is with him. He holds on to the ball for a long period of time, but in a way I understand it because you have a horrible O-line. We had this guy, Latarius Simmons. He's a 7th-round pick we got in I think it was the 2020 draft in the 7th round. But he's a 7th-round pick for a reason. Then a lot of people expected him to be an undrafted free agent. But my problem is you have a veteran. I'm not sure if you know who Alex Barr is. They started the guy who didn't even practice a snap. And they went with him over. They went with the 7th round person that didn't have a snap over a veteran like Alex Smith. But I don't know like that. But the center, Sam Mustard, I'm not sure you know who he is. He has been horrible this season. Absolutely horrible. I thought that he maybe be a caliber. He may be a caliber starting center in the near future for the Chicago Bears, but he has shown no effort to be the center because when he gets up to snap the ball, there were times where he completely screwed it up. Like there were times where he actually fumbled the snap and Justin Fields had to go and recover it. So that's my issue with the offensive line. Receiver-wise, you have A-Rob, you have Mooney, you have Goodwin, who was a nice pickup. You have Cole Kmet. You don't even know how to use them. Okay, I want to bring up a very good point that A-Rob said today in his interview that he hasn't had any chemistry with Justin Fields. He was asked about that, and he said, well, that's because we didn't get a lot of reps in practice. Because you want to know who was in the reps with Al Robinson? Andy Dalton. That's my issue.
Yeah, like your bridge quarterback, like you're gonna have Andy Dalton. Like this is not the Andy Dalton of his early years where he was really good with the Bengals, but even then he wasn't like the kind of guy you can hold on to. But yeah, we should have if you look at it this way, this is just what's the tale of both teams that kind of make it kind of like it doesn't matter who wins this game. Both teams are going through a slump. I mean, except the Bears. I think, yeah, actually, Bears are on a 2-game losing streak, right?
Correct.
Okay, so both teams are on a slump, except my team's on a 4-game losing streak. It's kind of like something's got to give. But I feel like Shanahan doesn't really know what he's doing with the talent, man. It's like, I guess you could say he's kind of like our Matt Nagy, like just arrogant, kind of acts like he knows what the hell he's doing. But then sometimes he's kind of like, it shakes my head a little bit. Like, why did you draft Trey Sermon if you're not going to use him? You got to use, Elijah Mitchell, give him some more carries. The guy's good. He's provided a good spark on our offense. You're not going to give the ball to Ross Dwelly, even though Kittle's out for a while. You got to use your other tight end. He's kind of like the more reliable target. Deebo Samuel, you have to he's getting more of the touches, of course, but why not just try to throw an Ayuk out there? I don't like the fact they're even put him as a return man. What the heck they're doing? It's stupid. No wonder why the other guy's panning out. Dante Pez is playing better with the Giants than he was with the Niners because Shanahan is stupid and arrogant. He cost the game with bad mistakes. And it's been kind of backfiring us a little bit. So it's kind of been an issue with the team in general. Like the way how Shanahan's been investing during the offseason, it's kind of backburner us a little bit because we didn't invest cornerbacks. And now that our starting cornerbacks tore his ACL against the Lions, and now that's going to cost us a lot during the season because we put too much on a guy who can't even stay healthy, and it's coming back to bite us. And it's just not – it's not good, man. This is why I didn't like the idea. Like, hey, good, we brought back Jason Verrett, but I'm not confident with him because he can't stay healthy. So you're going to put your money in, and you're not going to go for somebody in free agency that can actually be a solid pickup. But no, we didn't draft one early. We had to wait to the third and the late rounds just to get a cornerback. Are you kidding me? And then we bring back Dante Johnson. That guy's trash. No offense, but you got to invest a lot of your corners and your DBs, and that's been our weakness in the secondary a little bit.
I do agree. Our secondary, I was so mad when we got rid of Kyle Ford. Like it was just, I was ready to go to war after how I felt when we got rid of Kyle Ford. If you're not gonna if you don't plan on having Kyle Fuller, at least trade him for a first round pick because Kyle Fuller was playing in a Pro Bowl level last year. So I think he was in the trade with Russell Wilson, but we didn't get it done. However, but if you're not going to trade, if you're not going to, have him for next year, just trade him. You'll get something. But the thing is, we cut Kyle Fuller is because he was not the player that we saw in his recent years, and we did it for draft cav capital, so we would have some money for free agents. But the thing is, I would have at least traded him instead of cutting him. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I guess sometimes that's dumb decisions. If you were going to get rid of Kyle Fuller, at least got something in return. But nah, you didn't get nothing. Just like how some of our, I'm feeling like, I feel like we just abandoned the position that would have helped us, but now we're just back to square one with DBs. Like we're getting a lot of these washed up players. Like we're getting a lot of these washed up players that are not the same. Josh Norman, how old is he? 34 years old. Not the same player. Broken down, kind of like old cornerbacks are not the best to keep with. And then you get a guy like Drake Kirkpatrick, the most penalized cornerback in the league. You bring him into our roster to fill in that spot. Like, man, and then we've been getting penalized. That might be the critical factor for the Bears is you're going to go against our DBs who are been known to get penalized now. So that might be the advantage for you guys if you can capitalize on our penalties. Because you got Darnell Mooney, you got Allen Robinson, but if Josh Norman kind of jams up a little bit on him, man, I hate to say it, but it might be frustrating for us to see you guys get some first downs off of those pass interference. And that might be the only X factor for you guys to maybe pulling a win over us is because of those stupid penalties.
So the thing is, if you're I don't know if it's a right tackle or left tackle. I'm not sure if Trent Williams is playing. So if you picture this, Jimmy G ain't mobile. Trey Lance is. So you're putting Jimmy G in a position where he is going to fail. Like I could just imagine it happening. Okay, Jimmy G has only 2 consecutive wins of the season. One was against Detroit, which you almost blew, by the way. And then the second, you beat the Philadelphia Eagles, which you started off 2-0. All right, you were 2-0. You've been on a 5-game losing streak ever since your 2-0 start, and that just proves that your only 2 wins came against the Eagles, the Lions. So did you feel like you guys were on the 5-game losing streak because you were facing tougher competition?
Well, to answer your question, it's 4-game losing streak because we were coming off a bye before we played the Colts. So, yeah, the competition got tougher when we played a team like Green Bay, which we barely lost to them. Let's see, the Seattle Seahawks. I don't understand why we still lost to them for some reason. We should have beat them in the first place. The Cardinals, they were going to be a really tough team, but we did play pretty good. But I feel like these 6 games were really kind of like really a bad start. It's kind of terrible how to go with the situation. Now you're going to get a lot of criticism, and then plus it's not helping Jimmy's value now. They're talking about maybe we could trade him. No, forget about trading Jimmy now. He's worthless now. His injury, his performance. Does any team want to take a chance on this guy, knowing that we have Trey Lance as our guy? It's kind of like a very questionable mark. Yeah, we did start 2-2. I mean, 2-0 on the road. We played a team like the Detroit Lions. Like anybody can beat them, so that's a winnable game. I mean, but then again, they were playing tough on us. And then the Eagles, I thought the Eagles were going to be really tough, but we did beat them. I think they're not as. I think they're just a weak team for some people. And then you look at teams like the Packers. I thought we were going to whip them. But nope, was I wrong? The Seahawks, we should have blown the brakes out of them. Nope, we lost. The Colts game, I had a feeling we weren't going to beat the Colts because I had a feeling that they were finding their identity. They were finding their rhythm. I knew that at some point Carson Wentz and Frank Wright were going to click, and it was just either going to be at this game. And I'm like thinking, man, why do we have to give these kind of games to teams like this? You know?
John Jay actually has a point. The 49ers had no indent. John Jay actually has a point here. The 49ers are not a playoff team, which I have a feeling. Ever since y'all lost the Super Bowl to I'm not going to call him his nickname, but I'll just call him Patrick Mahomes. Y'all know what I call him on my channel. Just go look at my channel videos. But I'm just going to call him Pat. Ever since y'all lost the Super Bowl, the 49ers have hit a rock bottom, which every team does when they lose the Super Bowl. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, they're the worst team in the league right now, and Patrick Mahomes leads the league in 9. But this is the 49ers we're talking about. But ever since y'all lost the Super Bowl, that team had train wreck. Y'all drafted your replacement, and because you're not sure Jimmy G's your guy. You're not even sure that he's the guy right now because he has had some struggles. All Jimmy G, it just proves that Jimmy G that one season was a fluke year. And the thing is, if Jimmy G is that guy, if you're thinking that Jimmy's that guy, why would you still start him over Trey Lance? Like that's my issue is Jimmy G doesn't bring anything to the team. Start Trey Lance. You already saw I haven't watched any 49ers game, but I watched his first touchdown pass against Detroit, which was a gadget play, and I saw his game against I didn't really see his game again, but I saw some glimpses. So you have Jimmy Garoppolo who can't throw a pass over 10 yards without, a lot of the passes that Jimmy G has thrown over like 10 yards, and they get caught by a really good receiver, which is either Deebo Samuel or George Kittle. He just says, screw it. Kittle or Deebo are out there, and he just throws it, and then it somehow gets caught. But the thing is, Trey Lance gives the Niners a better opportunity than Jimmy Garoppolo does, and it's a fact. And I have a feeling that starting Jimmy Garoppolo right now is going to bite them, and it's going to sink in because this Bears pass rush, even though it's not going to be without Khalil Mack, okay? Khalil Mack is out for this game. This pass rush is going to be dangerous, and they have went up against interior linemen lately. So Jimmy G's not mobile. Let me refresh you. Jimmy G ain't mobile. So if Jimmy G can't get out of the pocket, make plays, then it's going to screw you guys over because the Bears pass pass rushers are. This is why we lead the NFL in sacks, because we have a dominant pass rush. But the secondary, I don't know if our secondary is going to make Jimmy G look like Joe Montana, or Jimmy Garoppolo is going to make our secondary look good, which I'm not confident. Okay, outside of Jalen Johnson, everybody's been horrible. I don't know what happened to Eddie Jackson. Eddie Jackson's been being burnt left and right. I'm not even sure we're keeping him next year, but that's just on beyond me at this point. So,
Yeah, I think that's the main true test. I mean, I would rather play Trey Lance during this point. Like if it was just 4-2 and Jimmy was playing good, then we don't even have to worry about it. But this is 2-4. This is where we might need to start from scratch. And you invested a lot with Trey Lance, and you saw a glimpse of what he can be. The Seahawks and Cardinals game, you saw what he could do. It seems like you need to just give this kid more experience. In Shanahan, if you want to build on a playbook for him that fits him, slowly get him into the offense, and then build design plays the way it's supposed to be for him. And then as soon as you start to scratch the surface, this kid's going to be ready probably next year or two, and then he's going to make a leap. But instead, you're just not going to give this kid a chance. You're just going to let a veteran quarterback who's technically robbed us with contract-wise. It's like 5 games. He kind of showed glimpse, but those were 5 games. No defense had film on him. So what were they going to expect from him when he played with us for those 5 games? To addition, that's where he got his contract, but the defense didn't have a lot of film on him. So there's a difference. We should do what the Packers did to us: quick slants, leave the blocks into blocks. I think that might work. But then you look at the Kyle Shanahan never intended to start Trey Lance in 2021. He wants Jimmy to start. If think Bears coach has an ego, Kyle thinks his offense is perfect. Kyle's just a little cocky. He's kind of like a low-key cocky guy. Like when I watch his press conference, I'm like, God damn, I can't even watch his press conference. Like, yeah, I believe in my guys. I'm confident in my dude. Oh, they're going to get the job done. Oh, I'm not too worried. Oh, this is not a quarterback competition. Oh, Jimmy's our guy. Jimmy's our guy. That's it. That's what he would say. He just seems like the kind of guy that seems low-key, kind of like he doesn't give a shit.
Okay, and just to respond to David McNew, the reason why the Packers can do good with bad stuff around them is because they have a Hall of Fame quarterback. It wouldn't shock me if tomorrow Aaron Rodgers still looks like an MVP without Lazard and Adams. But the thing is, the Packers have a Hall of Fame quarterback to take care of the. If you had Aaron Rodgers right now in the 49ers, despite your bad play calling, despite your issues, you still be better because Aaron Rodgers can accept that. It doesn't matter who is the receiver. It's because you have Aaron Rodgers, that's all you need to know. And that's why it wouldn't even shock me if the Packers win tomorrow, because Aaron can do more than less. But the thing is, Jimmy G is far from a Hall of Famer, okay? He's mediocre. Okay? 49ers fans, he's mediocre. He only got to the Super Bowl because I can name a lot of reasons, because your defense was booming that year, and 2, you had a good run game. Raheem Mostert looked like a goon. And you guys had talent that can exempt Jimmy Garoppolo of his bad throws. Like Jimmy G didn't do anything that Super Bowl run, which makes you think, oh, damn, maybe he's the guy. But he had talent. Then he had Kittle, he had Demo, he had those talent that can. Oh, Kittle he may need surgery. Oh, that's a huge blow.
No, that's not Kittle. It's Kinlaw.
Oh.
It's a deep tackle, the one we replaced Buckner with, who we should. Yeah, let's get to that point. The Javon Kinlaw draft pick, to me, was a bust. And I hate to say I'm right. Trading DeForest Buckner was going to backfire us and pay us in the long haul. You don't just replace a player of his caliber who takes the double team and still become a factor. He was the most durable player on our team. Even when he was hurt, he still played the game at the highest level. But guess what? You get his replacement with a guy who has arthritis knees. Are you serious? You're going to draft a guy with arthritis knees and he's going to require that all the time to fix? That's a wasted draft pick. I felt like that pick to me was the dumbest pick we ever made the investment. This reminds me of the worser version of Solomon Thomas. Even that was a terrible pick, but this one to me was the worst pick. Because this guy, yeah, you like that he's got a big body and he can stop the run and be able to have some potential as a pass rusher, but how can you have so much potential if you have knee issues? That to me is concerning, and that's why I think that was a mistake by John Lynch to get that guy.
And speaking of which, when Andy Dalton went down with his injury, I was a bit worried that we were going to start Andy Dalton soon when Justin Fields beat the Detroit Lions. Part of me was worried, but I have a feeling that the Bears because I actually think the Bears front office is getting tired of Matt Nagy. They already said that they're not keeping him for next season. So I guarantee it. They're not going to keep Matt Nagy for another season. You can hold me to it, y'all. Matt Nagy will not be the head coach. He had to be forced to start Justin Fields. He said they said you either start Justin Fields or you're fired. That's why he relieved his play calling duties. That's why, because the Cleveland Browns game, let me be honest, that was the worst garbage offensive performance by any team I have ever seen. Like 9 sacks, like that just shows you how bad the play calling is. Like I'm surprised he didn't get fired right after that. I'm surprised he didn't get fired, but it's the McCaskies. The McCaskies never seem to fire a head coach in the season. So they usually wait until the end of the season. So they have already said that they may not keep Matt Nagy. So they're just looking for a replacement. And awesome kid, just go play in the playground. That's all I can say.
Hey, how come you guys cancel on Madden?
I'm currently at my parents' place, so I'm not near an Xbox right now.
Oh, okay. So, all right, but let's get to the main question of, what would it take for your Bears to beat my Niners? Just give me 3 keys to how you guys would have to beat us this week.
Can I do offense and defense, both 3 keys?
Yeah, all 3.
Okay, let me start on the offense, which is the huge problem, which we are currently last. Our offense is last in the league. 1, get the run game going. Khalil Herbert looks like an absolute gem. I really say that. Khalil Herbert looks like a gem. If he can run on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers run defense, he can run on this defense as well. And that's my number 1, get the run game going. 2, protect Justin Fields with his life, if his life depended on it. We got Larry Borom, who's coming back from injury, who he showed some promise in week 1. So that's my 2nd key. Protect Justin Fields at all costs. And 3, Justin Fields, do not do dumb stuff with the football. Like, if you're seeing a defender, don't try to make something out of nothing. Don't try to be Superman. If there's not a running lane and there's no open wide receiver, throw the ball away, live to fight another down. And another partial key, get Justin Fields out of the pocket. Stop making him a pocket passer. But as the defense, 3 keys. 3 keys. 1, get pressure, get to Jimmy G, because he's not mobile, because he's very slow like my grandpa. He's slow. He's not like a little child, like awesome kid running around in the playground. That's Trey Lance. But the Jimmy G ain't mobile. So get the pass rush, get to him, and he may fumble a lot. He may throw lots of interceptions this game. 2, cover Demo Samuel, who's going to be up against Jalen Johnson. That limit him because he's a big part of the offense. And 3 and final, limit your run game because we have a top 10 run defense because we have a best pass rush. And Eddie Goldman, we have Eddie Goldman, Akeem Hicks, who most likely will play in this game. So that's my technically 6 keys, if you ask me. So,
All right.
what do you think that can? What do you think offense, defense to beat my Chicago Bears?
Okay. So on offense, just establishing that running game, be able to run the ball effectively good and stick with the bread and butter. And I know it sounds kind of easy said and done, but if Jimmy gets enough time in the pocket and maybe instead of just throwing it with Debo all the time, sometimes you got to spread it around with the other receivers. If somebody's not open, then throw it to the other receiver. Maybe he's open. That's the problem with Jimmy G. When somebody's covered, he's always hitting to throw it to that person. But the factor for the offense to do is just Jimmy needs to build his confidence, or else I see him just on a short leash. Don't run like Forrest Gump, man. Do not run like Forrest Gump because you're gonna get hit. And then on the fact of the defense, okay, the main key on defense is to sack Justin Fields, be able to get to him, be able to rattle him a little bit, but don't blitz him because then he's gonna run. So our secondary, we got to be able to shut down your boy Mooney and put him in check. Because other than that, it's only Allen Robinson and those 2 guys. I don't know. There's just not really much of a player that concerns me a little more besides those 2 guys. But if we shut down your running game, I feel like we have a good chance. But on that side, that's what I look at. You know, it's kind of like, okay, where are those gloves? Hey, this Seahawks fan.
You ask, okay. Rule number 1, don't ask questions. That's my rule. Don't ask questions.
All right, rule number 1, he's just here so he doesn't get fined, just like your boy Marshawn Lynch said.
Don't ask questions.
But okay, but all right, but let's get on to the prediction of what score you have for your Bears in that matchup.
It's still going to be low scoring, even though we're possibly not going to have our head coach because he's out due to COVID. If I had to predict the score, it'd be 16-10. Defensive performance.
Okay, so who would win 6 points?
Who would win by 6 points? The Bears.
All right, fair enough. It seems like one of those. All right, so if I had to predict a score, man, so 28. But then you might be right. It could be a low score game, but I might have a gut feeling that maybe both offense might play good because it could be one of those X factors. But then it's telling me differently. Maybe it could be a 17-14 type game or 28-24 type game. I'm kind of shaking which one's more reasonable. I'm going to go with the 17-14 game. Niners win by 3. Fortunately, it would be a bounce back kind of game, but I feel like your team is going to be tough and it's going to be hard. So it's kind of like a coin flip. Either one, it's like you can't go wrong with either team. So it's like both of them are going through struggles. I think this guy is an undercut.
If that was true, hey brother, don't make me call Malcolm Butler. Your father. Don't make me call Malcolm Butler.
Hello? Hey, Butler. There's a Seattle fan. I'm just playing. But in all seriously, man, I wish you good luck on your team. But unfortunately, man, we let the best team win is all I look at. But yeah, definitely.
We cool, bro. But Sunday,
it's a different story.
Myers, my enemy.
Yeah, bear down is the enemy for today. I mean, this week,
So,
and then
so John Jay, Gavin, all the 49ers fans out there, I like you. I have no disrespectful thing towards you, but on Sunday, you're my enemy.
yeah, I can't wait to see some of those other jokes of Gavin and the others just for your little comedy purpose. But it's all good, man. I get it. But I can't wait.
Corey Davis. The reason why he became a Chicago Bears fan is because I was born in Chicago, and my whole family was all Bears fans. That's how I became a Bears fan, and I actually really enjoyed becoming some of the Bears, like Devin Hester. I really didn't like Jay Cutler. Let me be honest. Jay Cutler deserved to be shot. Like, let me be honest. But the thing is, I grew up in a family where there was a lot of Bears fans, so that's how I became a Bears fan. You know, once you're raised with a bunch of wolves, picture this: you're a baby wolf, and when you're around a bunch of wolves, you become a hunting wolf. So that's how I picture me becoming a Bears fan. So.
Okay. Since we're going to that question, I'm going to tell you like it is, man. My parents and my family are Cowboy fans, but I just found purpose. People will call me the black sheep because they say, why'd you become a 49ers fan if your families are Dallas fans? Dude, it's just I was never fit for the Cowboys, even though I was born in the state of Texas. Family line or not, I'm not going to be like everybody else. I'm not going to follow the same path. I want to do me. So it's like, I like the fact that I'm the villain. I'm the bad guy. So, you know, my family can be the good people, the stars, and say, oh, we're going to the Super Bowl all the time. Ha, rah, rah. Like, God, it gets annoying. And then the fact that I'm just my own generation, man. Just because I'm raised by the Cowboy family doesn't mean I gotta be one. So that I just found the team because of my brother. My brother found me the better pasture of a team that fit me. As soon as I moved down to California, as soon as when I was growing up after moving to California, just found a team, found purpose, found what was going to fit me. And watching Steve Young was just what got me into the team and never looked back since, you know. I mean, like you said, you've been raised by the wolves of your own family that were Bears fans. I was just raised differently, you know, in that way.
Hey, awesome kid. You're not allowed to talk football because you said your CB was Kyler Murray. You're not allowed to talk football ever again. Like, I'm sorry.
Hey, facts. My whole family are Seahawks fans. That's probably why he doesn't like Seahawks. No wonder why. Okay, here's Corey Davis's question, and we're gonna end the stream in a bit.
Who the 4 Bears players who I want on Mount Rushmore? Well, 1, Khalil Mack. You know, he deserves 1. 2, Allen Robinson. 3, Darnell Mooney. And last but not least, David Montgomery.
Okay, but was he referring to the current or the past ones? Because it's kind of tricky. But I guess
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Okay, but we'll go with the current ones. For me, Mount Rushmore for my Niners. Before we end this question, it would be simple. George Kittle would be Mount Rushmore for the current one. Deebo Samuel, Nick Bosa, and Fred Warner. That's it. I feel like that's kind of like the players you build around, even though Trent Williams would deserve to be Mount Rushmore, but he's a Washington Mount Rushmore. So you're getting somebody that's coming off of the Washington football team.
Oh, he's talking about the pass.
Okay, pass. All right.
For my pass, Devin Hester, obviously. Devin Hester, Robbie Gould, because he was a hell of a kicker for us. I don't know why we cutted him. 3, Matt Forte, and last but not least, Brandon Marshall, who bailed out Jay Cutler sometimes.
Okay, so those are your Mount Rushmore. Okay, my past Mount Rushmore is pretty obvious. I got to go with Steve Young because he was one of the very reasons why I grew up to be a fan, and plus my brother gave me a purpose for it. And then you look at players like Terrell Owens, Jerry Rice. So those are like it's about 3. And then the very last one in my opinion, he doesn't get enough recognition, but he should be at some point, is Brian Young. This guy's very good, very underrated defensive lineman I've ever watched. And it would be an honor. Maybe one day I'd be able to interview this guy, but it is what it is. So look at Brian Urlacher. You forgot him, and that '84 squad had better.
I didn't watch too much of Brian Urlacher to become a fan, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes people didn't get to see much of those times. I grew up in the days where I grew up when Steve Young was at the end of his career, so I only got to see very little of him. I got to see a lot of T.O. as a kid. I got to see a lot of I barely saw a little bit of Jerry Rice, so that kind of makes me feel old a little bit, And then I saw some Garrison Hurst. Garrison Hurst was one of those most underrated running backs we ever had before there was ever a Frank Gore. He had a Kevin Barlow. During the hard times, during the time when we had Mariucci, we had a really solid squad. And I interviewed Julian Peterson, who was a part of that squad. I interviewed the likes of Keith Lewis, who was a dirty player and didn't even apologize for whatever he said. He didn't regret what he did. Mike Rump, who could have had a career, but his career was cut short, or he just wasn't used the right way. And then you had somebody like a Derek Smith, who was our heart and soul of our defense for those 7 years he played for us. And those are those moments that you don't ever forget about certain people. But he kind of he was somebody that I admire. And somebody like Jamie Winborn, he put his heart out there. And I appreciate every bit of what they did. And, as a fan, I've gone through the worst years than the good years. Very little bit of good years I got to witness as a fan, but I never got a chance to really, enjoy a good year. We had 2 Super Bowl years, losses. I've only witnessed one Super Bowl win, and that was when I was, like a little kid. So that makes me old. So, the last time I've ever seen my team win a Super Bowl, I was just a kid. Steve Young was the MVP. Steve Young was the guy. That was the guy I was looking up to. So that was the one dude that if anybody asked me any questions about who's my favorite all time, it's Steve Young, and it's not even a question. But the Julian Peterson interview was one of the best ones, I would say. But as far as to everybody else, me and Butters are going to hit out the stream.
If I had to do if I had to do an all-time interview, it would probably be with it would probably be Matt Forte or Khalil Mack. That's what I would want to do an interview by. So
what if you can get Brian Urlacher?
If I want to get Brian Urlacher, I wanted to find out more about him. If you look earlier in the stream, I kind of did give my reaction. I'm mad, but this game and the upcoming game are winnable. So,
all right,
we got the Steelers right after this. So,
yeah, I'll give you one last question before we end the stream. Let's talk about the guy from the 559, Jalen Johnson, who happens to be from my neck of the woods. What do you think of him, man?
He's a damn good CB, a damn good one. Did he have some downfalls in playing against the Packers and Bucks? I mean, he was up against top 10 receivers, Mike Evans and Devontae Adams. I mean, it's not his fault. Some CBs get burned by them. But if I also referring to that other question, I do want to do an interview with Jalen Johnson one day, so I hope he's watching this. Shout out to Jalen Johnson, by the way.
Shout out to Jalen Johnson, the 559 representative. Maybe one day I might get him on the show, but we'll see. He probably comes every now and then here. But yeah, speaking of the people I'm proud of, there's guys like Josh Allen who came from small town Fireball and is one of the best quarterbacks for the Buffalo Bills. It's can you believe that? He was 45 minutes from my city. Nobody didn't know who he was. But I tell you what, man, it's good stuff. Appreciate you on the show, bro. You can just
y'all can subscribe to my channel. I'm pretty sure CG has the link into the description.
Yeah, I do.
I would appreciate if you all subscribe to me. I'll also be live tomorrow for the Cardinals and Packers game, so I hope to see you all there.
Yeah, anybody else who hasn't subscribed, including Chosen One, go check it out, bro. All right, have a good one, man.